guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are talking about all things school, back to school and cost of living crisis amongst many other. This is kind of going to be a little bit of a vloggy video. Few of you have been emailing as you do now, which is absolutely great, and sending me ideas of the things that you want me to talk about to gain some information, especially if you guys don't live in UK. So perfect opportunity. It's back to school. It's a week 2. I know it's a little bit late. However, is there some things that I wanted to cover that kind of made me think and made me a little bit upset with the whole school system. So just to give you an idea, guys, if you want to grab a cup of tea, probably be slightly a longer video. I'm just going to be talking through the few things, okay? So in UK, okay, the school education generally starts for children of age 4 onwards. So it is free from 4 years old to start the school. However, in some instances, in few areas in Wales, probably in UK as well, kids are able to start free from the age of 3. However, in area that we live, it is not free. You have to pay to have your kid going to school from the age of 3, unless you both work full time and you earn and bring certain amounts of national insurance that you pay, to kind of cover, if you wish, the payment. So for us, in our instance, we're kind of lucky because our little one are able to start the school from the age of 3, and it is kind of funded by the government through obviously us paying the national insurance. Generally, this is how bad things are. The cost of childcare, it's absolutely astronomical. The school split in the 2 parts, and we're talking about, first of them is a 2.5 hours, which is like a toddler's group, and that costs about £15. And second part of the school, the main childcare, it's £30 to £50 for the 4 hours. This is ridiculous. There are nurseries there, especially in Wales as well, they're no local to us. They charge some of them up to like £60 for the whole day for a nursery. It is absolutely ridiculous. So you could imagine, guys, if you do work full time and earn an average wage, the price to send your kid to school or nursery, it's absolutely ridiculous. So nonetheless, we're falling under the category that we are quite lucky that we are both working and the government able to kind of subsidize her for this initial year between 3 and 4 to go to school. So again, I explained this to you guys before go into details, so it might make you understand slightly a bit better. The first part that she goes in is 2.5 hours, and it's a publicly owned school or nursery if you wish, and then she gets transferred by the teachers into a private part of the school which is privately owned, the government helping us to pay for. So that means that in the initial class that she's in, she's got 10 pupils in initial 2.5 hours, give or take, and then thereafter they're literally probably 5 or 6 kids there. So she does kind of get a very good almost one-on-one interaction with the teachers, which is absolutely fine. So it comes down to, guys, and it was absolutely shocker as a mum. You know, we were waiting for the time when the kids are going to school, but things have changed so much since I was at school. It was absolutely a shocker to even enrolling a kid into the school, okay? I had a massive wad of paperwork, and I almost felt like I should have been filming the amount of things that was there to fill in. It was crazy. And it was that in a double language. They have to supply this in Welsh and in English as well. So it was absolutely huge. There's less paperwork to buy a house than to enroll your child into the school. This was absolutely ridiculous. There was numerous amount of forms, many things, much information they needed to know, including obviously a lot of information about the parents and grandparents as well. So that kind of was a tad what scary. But not as scary is one of the things that I had to sign, which we refused to sign. It's basically a piece of paper that's saying that because of the school outings, they want to, rather than ask you to sign something on a regular basis, you can sign one piece of paper that's saying the kid's allowed to go, allowed to and able to physically walk the distance and actually participate in activities. Yet down below in a small print also asked you to sign something that said that there's a possibility or the need for the child to have some medical care, including surgical intervention, okay, that I can sign there to say it's a-okay for somebody there to have a surgical intervention on my child whilst I'm nowhere near. Over my dead body. God forbid, guys, if anything happens to kids when they're out, I'm sure if the surgery is something, God forbid, needed to be done instantly, the paramedics will know what to do, and you don't need the consent to save somebody's life. But the way that was worded, it kind of really indicated there's something I was not comfortable with. And if you guys follow the channel, or many of you who know the current issues that are potentially happening with the kids' education, you probably understand what I'm talking about. So this piece of paper nicely filed away in my cupboard until further action needed. So it is there, but this is just the thing, just to point out that was rather uncomfortable piece of paper for me to look at and actually comprehend what potentially could that mean. So now, guys, let's talk about uniforms, because it's quite a rarity for a child to start at the age of 3. All the uniforms and all the shoes and everything else that goes in the supermarkets or whatever you're available to buy, it pretty much starts from the age of 4. So because it is a compulsory uniforms to wear, so kids have specific things. In our instances is a blue, grey and black in terms of the colors, and then girls can have some pleated black or grey dresses and a little summer dresses as well with a little checkered effect type thing. Okay, so this is the kind of the normality, and this is what you request that your child wears. Also, there's ability, okay, to purchase your child, and this is kind of more advisable, that you buy your child a branded logo tops, okay? And this is where, again, comes down to the price a lot. Those branded things are cost 4 or 5 times more than initial thing you can buy from a supermarket. So I know, okay, a friend from the previous place I used to work at, she had 2 boys, okay, and she used to pay £40 for the branded logo on the jumper, just for the boys. This is each, and this is just for them to go through probably 6 months worth. So could you possibly imagine the amount of money you need to spend on your kids' uniform, especially if they force you to buy the branded uniforms? And you might think, okay, yeah, because, you know, kids grow, but you buy something and they'll last them quite a while. It does not. And I also myself thought this way before. However, now having a child, I totally understand what that means, that the kids just go through stuff so quickly, and it's so expensive. Even buying a basic shoes, right? So before the start of this September, she was going to a little nursery for 2.5 hours a day, and she had a pair of black little ballet shoes, which is acceptable for the school. Within that time, she ruined them and pretty much grown out of them within a space of this 6 weeks, literally, and they were about like £18. So you can imagine, okay, with the kids messing around, even when she walks to from school, we have puddles, we have dirt, we have everything else, in the ruins clothing really fast, okay? So the sheer amount of the prices that they charge you for uniforms, apart from in the supermarkets when you pick up like little polo shirts for boys fairly inexpensively, but with the schools, when they force you to have a branded uniforms, it is ridiculously expensive. At the same time, I've seen many articles online for parents being slated for the child not wearing quite an acceptable uniform. I know for a fact from, the first hand is my niece was she was being given detention because the skirt that she wore was from a supermarket, was an acceptable technically brand to wear, however had too much lycra. So she's been given a detention because her skirt contained lycra that was not liked by the school. So you just think about this and comprehend this for the minute. This is absolutely a joke. If you want to have your children, or if schools want to have children wearing the same kind of things, then produce a single uniformed uniform, if that makes sense, okay? Stop giving us options. Like in every nursery, we have like 2 or 3 schools in the area. Each and one of them have a different rules and different colors. So for example, if my school in our instances has a navy blue uniform, I can only buy this, say, from Asda. If somebody's kids got the red uniform at school, they have to go to Tesco's. And sometimes it's impossible to find the sizing, especially, yes, you can buy stuff online as well, but it's not always possible to get the size, because for the little ones, a rush comes in there as soon as they get to the shop. Everybody rushes in there. Sorry, technical glitch in there, guys. So yes, everybody rushes in just before the school term starts to be able to get their kids some clothing or shoes to fit, and it's almost impossible, as I said, for the little ones, because they just don't produce enough for the 3 years old. So if you don't produce enough, then do not make it compulsory. There you have it, simple solution, okay? So, however, nonetheless, I wanted to say a huge thank you to the Fitville yet again for supplying our little one some school shoes and some pink, what she calls the princess shoes. As I said, I found it a great difficulty to be able to find a great shoe that offers a great support. It's got a nice and waterproof sole, and actually she's happy and she's able to go through the puddles and I don't have to worry about. So thank you very much again for that Fitbel. Next thing, guys, brings you down to another thing which I'm pretty sure many of parents been familiar with. This is school donations, okay? Before the proper school term started in September, she was going to a little nursery school for about 6 weeks. We have been asked for money and or donations of gift 4 times, okay? 4 times in the space of 6 weeks. This is absolutely ridiculous. Again, we're talking now cost of living crisis, and I appreciate many people might think that the schools then don't get enough funding. Well, to be fair, government spends plenty of money in the places that they shouldn't, so I'm pretty sure they should be able to fund enough, like, schools. Do you know what I mean? I do not believe that the schools should be asking for parents for any sort of donations, because some parents just can't afford to, and you look pretty bad if you don't. And again, I'm telling you, when they ask for some gift for the raffles, so when you do school run, you see all the mums walking around with their little bag of the gift inside. If you're one of those mums that can't afford to, you go there empty-handed and everybody will look at you, and I guarantee you guys, however small or big school you go into, there's always one of those behind and say, oh, look at that, they don't have a bag, they probably can't afford to. And this is the really, really horrible thing that I don't like. But nonetheless, guys, it's cost of living crisis. I don't think people should be asking, or school should be asking for parents to give money, especially like when we first come in there. She's only been there going there for 2 weeks, and then the letter comes through, the head teacher was going and they were collecting some money to buy a gift. Well, I'm only been going there for 2 weeks. I don't even know the lady. Do you know what I mean? So it just how it is, okay? It is hard, and I think it's almost, I feel that the way they kind of word it and the way they look at you if you don't, it kind of makes it that you feel compelled to do something even if you can't afford to. Down, guys, to a last and I think probably a touchy subject for many. It's a school dinners, okay? There have been many things in the news and many people trying to fight for school offering a free school dinners for every child. And before, I'm like, I couldn't really understand why. I'm like, well, surely it doesn't cost really that much to feed the kid, but I don't think it's really kind of come down to that. So a first-hand example, all right? So she's going to a little nursery at the moment, and she's taking the little sandwiches because as a toddler, they're really more snackers than sort of sitting down and having a full meal. However, it was on the cards for us to supply her with the school dinners. It's not a simple process like it used to be in the old our days, where everything's now on the app. So I have to now open up a register with the app, open up like a separate bank account, like they say, type thing, deposit money there so they can take a school dinner from her for her from that account. So this is kind of been done in the process, so we're just waiting for this to be basically finalized. So in the meantime, she was taking the sandwiches, and for a couple of days it started slowly that saying, oh, she didn't really like a sandwich. Oh, okay, that's a shame, but she ate half of it. That's okay for a 3-year-old. And then sort of the day after as well, she didn't really enjoy that one. We did say, oh, how lovely mummy's sandwich was, but she didn't really eat it. Okay. And the third day, and this is kind of the really one that really sort of upset me a little bit, they're like, oh, she really wanted to have a school dinner today. All other kids were having a pizza and she was sitting there eating a sandwich, but she really, really, really wanted to have pizza. And this is kind of a thing when the teacher comes and tells you that. This is, I want to say, like, if I didn't know any better, I'll be really embarrassed. The reason she didn't have a school dinner is, I said, because it's been done in the process of arranging. This is absolutely fine. The kid's not starving. She's got sandwiches if she wants to. But you know, probably a toddler's, they're like, if they see something, they want it. So if she had a school dinner and somebody eating sandwich, she probably would want a sandwich anyway. But the whole fact that they took me aside and sort of said that she really wanted a school dinner, but did they give the school dinner? Of course not. There's about 6 pupils there at the time. Is it so hard for you to offer a kid like a slice of pizza if she really, really wanted to, until we get this sorted out? So my point is, guys, right? Hear me. So when my kid came home, I asked her, I said, well, I heard you wanted a pizza. Did they give it to you? She goes, no. So all other kids were eating pizza, but they didn't give it to me. This is what she said. And to hear your child say that, it just kind of... doesn't bring the tears to your eyes, but it makes you like heart sink a little bit, okay? This is fine, she's gonna have a school dinners, but the principle is that she came home and she'd been sat there, she watch somebody else eating something that she wanted to eat and they wouldn't give it to her. So this is, we're talking about the school where we have about six kids in there, right? Not a big deal, okay? They could have gave her the pizza. Nonetheless, I understand it's my problem to sort out, to arrange the the school dinners, that's absolutely fine. Let's be on the fact. Now, imagine if the people, they actually can't afford to pay for the school dinner. School dinner in our school there is £2.35, okay? So she's only going there for a few days a week, so it's £30 a month. It's not a big deal. But if you have a kid that goes there full time and you have more than one, it will all add up. And just imagine in the bigger schools, if you do have children that genuinely can't afford to, that they go to school sometimes without a breakfast or even without a sandwich in their bag, and then they sit there and they watch all the other children eat and they can't afford to. As a mum, that feels horrible if I see other children or feel that we know that it's happening. We know it's happening. The school dinner, the whole situation been going on for a very, very long time. So offer kids a free dinner so you don't have to have children come home or not even potentially even communicating or having this feeling that they wanted to eat. It's a basic need, is to have some food. When you're in school, last thing you want to do is to be hungry and not able to afford or not able to eat what other kids are eating. So this is really horrible, and this really hit me home. That's why I kind of brought up the fact that I really wanted to do this video, because it kind of left me a little bit uneasy with the whole sort of situation. Anyway, guys, I hopefully found somewhat interesting. I'm sure there's going to be many other things coming up during the whole the school hours, because things now are totally different. And as I say, like, we can never bring up our children the way our parents brought us up, because we're bringing them up in a totally different world, and it God help us really to see what's going to be happening, especially when it comes to the when she starts to go to the proper school and the curriculum. That will be interesting. Anyway, guys, I'm going to stop talking. Anyway, hopefully, as I said, you find this somewhat interesting. I've got some interesting information you might want to know as you asked. Anyway, don't forget, thumbs up, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.